14th Finance Commission and its recommendations, we do have with us Vice Chairman Niti Aayog, Shri Arvind Panvadia. Sir, welcome sir.
Pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah. Sir, how do you see the 14th Finance Commission reports and its recommendations?
So it's quite, you could say it's a little bit strong, but it's almost certainly dramatic, if not revolutionary, because traditionally the finance commissions have devolved about around 30% of the divisible pool. So divisible pool is largely the tax revenues that are collected by the central government, which are then divided between the center and the states.
Yes.
So in the past, about 30% go to the state or less. 13th Finance Commission had done 32%.
Okay.
This is the 14th Finance Commission, and it has really, for the first time. So in the past, they will tweak it by 1%, 2% or something like that, the figure.
Okay.
But this time they have jumped it by 10 percentage points. So now it goes from 32% to 42%. So it's a big shift in terms of passing on the tax revenues to the states in completely untied form, meaning there's no conditions to that. States get to decide how they're going to spend that money. So it's a big difference from the past.
So that means a big amount of money will be given to the states without any control.
That's correct.
But then how will center ensure that the money that the states will be spending will be spent in a proper and efficient manner, and the money that is being spent is very crucial because it is going for the poor and it is going for the infrastructure and other purposes, sir.
Right.
So how does the center will be maintaining?
So now, in effect, the status of the money is that it's the state's money.
Yes.
It's awarded by the Finance Commission. So it's to some degree not up to the center to control or to monitor anything. It is also to some degree recognition of the fact that now we really have 60 plus years later since independence, now actually approaching 70 years of independence, states are responsible, and in effect the way the Finance Commission thinks, the way our Prime Minister thinks, is that the states now will spend this money according to their priorities. So whereas in the past, particularly this extra 10 percentage point money that we are talking about, the center was deciding on what schemes it's going to spend, which may simply not be appropriate for all the states. So this was a kind of one size fits all approach. Okay. But now, as Chief Minister, the current Prime Minister used to say this, look, I mean, you are giving me money for rural electrification, but all my villages are already, I've got electricity, all households have the electricity. What do I need this for? So now states can decide what their priorities are, what their needs are, and according to that they can use this money. So in effect, I expect states will use it much more efficiently now. Okay. And fulfill the priorities. And my personal belief, whatever others believe, my personal belief is that states have come a long way. They are responsible. They realize that to win elections you have to deliver to the people.
True. So as you are saying, sir, local needs, local aspirations, then regional needs, regional aspirations are taken into consideration while giving lot of funds to the states. But at the same time, sir, there is a reduced role for the centrally sponsored schemes, and it is said that what will happen to these then national schemes or the schemes which have, say, legal implications. So what will happen to those schemes? Say the schemes related to Swachh Bharat, or say the scheme that is Make in India, or some flagship schemes. So what will happen to those schemes, sir?
So now there are, first of all, there are certain schemes which are seen as of national interest, and certainly it is not like the center is no longer going to do the schemes. Center will still do it. What it sees are absolutely essential for the betterment of the nation as a whole. So those will be done. Now within those, clearly there are some schemes that are legislated schemes. NREGA,
yes,
right? National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. That will of course stay. I mean, that's a legislation. The central government is bound by the law to do it. Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan, bound. Food Security Act, so public distribution system will be done. I mean, it's not a centrally sponsored scheme, that's outside, that's a non-plan, but that will also remain. So it's not as if suddenly now center will disappear. Central schemes will still remain, but their scope will certainly be reduced, and that is by design. That is by design, and it will give the states more room to design schemes appropriate for them.
Sir, over and above these taxes or the devolution of the funds, then there are, say, grants in it. Huge grants in it will be given in 3 different heads. That is, they will be given for the municipalities and then panchayats. Then after that, the disaster management grants are also there, and then the grants for the revenue deficit is also there. How do you see these grants as an economist, sir?
No. These all are serving specific purposes. We clearly, under the 73rd and 74th Amendment, we have the provisions of local administrations, and how are we going to actually, have effective local administrations if they don't have money? And often there is this sense that, the state governments themselves are kind of not very keen to actually give the money away to the local administrations. And so the central government has therefore taken it upon itself. So basically Finance Commission really took it upon itself, saying that, look, I'm going to decide that of this divisible pool, some money I'm going to give allocate straight to the municipalities, straight to the panchayats. So then the state governments can't appropriate that money. So that's one. Disaster management, clearly you need some allocation for that, and then revenue deficits where they are large for no faults of the states themselves. Partly it may be because their capacity to raise revenues is low. There may be other reasons, that first the mistakes of past governments. Suppose there's a huge debt, then they have to pay interest on the debt. That contributes to the revenue deficit. So I think to keep those states macroeconomically stable, you give the revenue grants. So those are the reasons.
So my last question, sir, how would you like to rate this Finance Commission recommendation, looking into the Honorable Prime Minister's vision for the cooperative federalism and working center and state as a team?
Yeah.
How would you like to rate it?
No, I wouldn't. It's bad enough that I have to actually rate my students at Columbia University, grade them. So I'm not going to grade, but I personally think that this is really very fortuitous that there's been this coincidence of circumstances whereby we have a Prime Minister who is very keen on cooperative federalism, and we also therefore luckily ended up with a Finance Commission which saw that this is highly unusual, because if you go into the historically, you see, there's its paternalistic attitude has kind of dominated. So you get finance commissions which feel that the center has to really have some control on what states do, and you get central government which feels the same way, and so we have had for 60 plus years this equilibrium in which the federalism really did not flourish in the way this Prime Minister wants to do, and now we have a coincidence that Prime Minister wants cooperative federalism. Finance Commission sort of reads that, gives recommendations which are quite consistent with that. So I think I rate it very
for
heavily.
The state in the center and the cooperative federalism as a whole, sir.
Yes, and for Niti.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot. On behalf of INB Ministry, I would like to thank you, sir, and congratulate the Indian government for the 14th Finance Commission.
We should all do that.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Lovely. Thank you.